Hello, everyone. We are coming to you with the next World Food Program USA Spotlight. And today we are honoring National Creativity Day. And everyone who has joined us are members of WFP USA staff. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves. So I am Tessa Climber. I am the Senior Social Media Associate. And I'm going to pass it to Stephen.
Hi, I'm Stephen. I'm the Senior Manager of Web Experience.
Hi, I'm Nicole Valle, and I'm the Manager of Social Media and Engagement.
Hey guys, I'm Ian Benjamin. I'm the Executive Assistant to the President and CEO of the World Food Program USA.
Something that we all have in common is our commitment to artistic expression to our personal lives. National Creativity Day is a chance to celebrate the expansive imagination of creators, and we are very lucky to have such great people on our staff and individuals who illustrate that creativity. In our office and abroad, we recognize the importance of elevating the power of those who are innovators in their communities. WFP's very own Innovation Accelerator benefited 8.6 million people in 2021. We are bringing home the importance of their work with a conversation on creativity at work and abroad with these panel members. So the first question is, what does the word creativity mean to you? And to me, creativity means expressing yourself in any form. So that can be just making your dinner at home or writing a poem, playing music, drawing a picture. It can mean anything. It's just a great way to express yourself. And Nicole, what does creativity mean to you?
I went a little bit poetic and I said making the intangible tangible. So turning a thought or a feeling, something that exists only in space and into something that we can kind of put out into the world.
What creativity means to me is very similar to what Nicole said, and it's just to imagine something that doesn't yet exist and to make it. Whether it's completely original or it's an improvement or a different version of something, it's still something new. So it's not necessarily just being artsy, it's just being able to make something that wasn't there before.
Yeah, that's awesome. That ties in a lot with like innovation and how like our Innovation Accelerator even exists with WFP. So that's a good answer. How about you, Ian?
Nicole totally stole my answer. No, I'm kidding. Creativity to me basically is one word. It's an outlet. Basically, it's an outlet to the day's anxiety and the day's stresses and just the normal wear and tear of the day. It's a great way to release stress and just have an outlet. And whatever you do, whether it's singing, whether it's cooking, whether it's dancing, bowling, whatever it is, it's just a way to just forget about the day or the week or the month, depending on what's going on.
Yeah. How do you do that, Ian? What's your personal, like, what's your craft? How do you?
I actually have two crafts. I sing. I'm not singing today. Do not ask me. And I cook. I'm quite a bit of a cook, and people ask me, "Oh, that's great, you cook." I don't do beans and dogs. No, I steam lobsters and make pasta from scratch and all that kind of stuff. So I do that kind of stuff.
Fancy.
It's a great stress reliever. Trust me.
Important question: do you sing while you cook?
No, I listen to music while I cook, though. Very close. Very close. I have it blasting somewhere in my house.
Singing and cooking would be a great performance, though. I would.
That'd be awesome. My food probably wouldn't taste as good, but at least it would sound good.
Yeah.
That's a Food Network show in itself. Is like a singing chef.
Singing and cooking.
That's one of my personal creative outlets. I am also a singer, but I mostly do creative writing. So. Which also can go hand in hand with music as well. You can write music and songs, but yeah, I love writing after a long day or even in the morning. I do morning pages and I try to write a couple thousand words every morning and just not stop. And it's a really creative way to get my mind working, especially with my job being a lot of it is writing copy. So
beautiful copy.
Very.
I'll go next. So my that I'm putting in here is photography and editing, photo editing and video editing. In my past life before World Food Program USA, I was a food content creator, so both video and food photography, but I have been doing photography and video editing professionally and then amateur since I was a kid, really. I've had a camera in my hands. Even when I was little, I was thinking about this, and before I even knew what editing was, I was muting, my children's films and putting on the radio and trying to see if they matched up, which is just a clue that I would one day be an editor. Or I'd like have a favorite song and I'd put on a favorite movie and see if I could get them to line up, and how funny that was. But yeah, and photography, food photography, I also love to cook.
You make sure the food looks delicious.
I do, yeah.
Instagram foodies everywhere are loving your content for sure.
I know, because I'm kind of one of them.
As am I.
Yeah.
How about you, Stephen?
Well, I express myself creatively through music. So when I was in high school, I actually played the flute in a marching band. So I was super popular, of course. I also played jazz piano in our jazz band. And I was also a guitarist in a punk rock emo band as well.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
I love that for you, Steve.
Currently, I'll play piano and guitar casually, just, thinking of like whatever songs may be popular, and I'll just, riff off of that. And just, it's a way for me to, just de-stress at the end of the day. And it's not so much about like, now playing something that's perfect, but just whatever's coming to mind. And, it doesn't matter if there's mistakes. It's just having fun and being creative in it. And I also do a little bit of photography as well. Just casually, but I love just finding different ways to see things and different perspectives. So,
and we asked what the name of your pop punk emo band was.
It was the most emo name you could think of. Our band was called The Glorious Tragedy.
Oh
nice.
my!
Because as a teenager, everything is just that dramatic.
Oh my gosh!
Nice.
That's great.
That is
great.
such a good band name. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I love that so much. I was an emo kid, so I definitely respect that. The next question I'm going to start with you, Nicole. How do you find that your creativity feeds into your work at WFP USA?
Well, for me, it's incredibly direct. I do the kind of creative content, the visual side of the creative content. Obviously, Tessa is my partner and she does all of the copywriting and scheduling. We're on our social media team. My background in photography and photo editing and how I look at light and color and balance and visual texture and all of that. And when it comes to storytelling, because at the end of the day, video editing is just storytelling. You get raw ingredients, which are testimonials, footage from the ground, and it's my job to bring them to life with music, with transitions, and weave them together into something that hopefully moves the soul, whether that's into happiness and motivates people to support and engage, or whether that's, sometimes the really, really sad realities of the work that we do and the things that we see, and moving them into being, compassionate and wanting to help and take action. So yeah, I feel really lucky that the thing that I like to do is also the thing I get to do at work.
Awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Do you think that, Stephen, do you think that your love of photography kind of helps you with web design, or does music help you with work?
Yeah, I think that my love for photography definitely helps factor into like web design, because in creating a website, I'm trying to like catch and engage in the user as quickly as possible. As people are browsing websites, you only have a few seconds to really capture someone's interest. And the stories that we tell are just so important. They're stories of both the WFP staff all over the world and the people that we're serving. They're stories of just hope and persistence and sometimes of tragedy, but they need to be stories that are communicated, that need to be shared. And so what I'm trying to do is, figure out like both with photos and text and visual elements, like what's the most captivating, the most beautiful way to like share a story so that someone that just randomly, peruses our website feels drawn into this story and feels connected to what these people are going through and what people are doing and wants to join into the mission of what WFP is doing.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah. Similar. It's a balance. It's a balancing act. You want to tell the story, but you also don't want the story to get in the way of the experience, because sometimes you can over add and you go, okay, well, people are just paying attention to my work and you want it to just pop out at them and grab them in all the right ways. So yeah, it's but Stephen, what Stephen and I do, I think is social and website is very similar. Visual design.
Yeah, it definitely, and it goes hand in hand, like with what I do with copywriting. I mean, the creative writing is so important with something like this because you're telling people stories.
Right.
So you have to make sure that it's easy to digest, especially in a social setting. And it's, it's interesting enough that it's going to keep people around to read the rest of the story and then end up on our website and then be interested in helping out and donating and learning more. So it all goes kind of hand in hand. How about you, Ian?
Wow, my answer is so boring compared to the three of you. Like, my creativity is not directly involved with my work, but it's more indirectly. First of all, you'll never see me cooking in the office, so that's definitely never going to happen. But as far as music is concerned, if I'm singing something, if I'm working on a project, like for example, I don't want to name a specific example. If I'm working on expenses, we'll say something to do with money and credit cards and things like that. If I'm singing something in my head, it makes the time go by faster. Because expenses can be very draining and can take sometimes days to get done. So if I have something playing in my head, or if I'm singing a song, in my mind while I'm working on any kind of project, it just makes it better. And being in the administrative capacity, it's just different because we're so routine with what we do. And so, if it gets to where I'm like, oh my God, I just want this to be over. You're typing, oh my God, if I could just start singing something in my head and just sing the song before I know it, the project is done. And it's like, oh, okay, what's the next one?
Yeah. And I think, in some of our roles, like our creativity is like tied to our work, but I think in a lot of ways, like creativity can also be like a break from work. So you had asked earlier if like music feeds into it. Well, music doesn't feed directly into my work. I typically don't listen to music as I work. And, I certainly don't have ideas to make our website into like a MySpace page that just plays music right when you get there. But being in a remote work setting, it does help for me to like, when I get just really stressed out with work or just really burned out, like I can step away for 10, 15 minutes and just play music. And kind of just reset my brain. So it has nothing to do with what I work, but it does help me like, re-energize myself so that I can come back to the table and do better work.
Right. That's a perfect word, Steve. It's a reset, just being able to step away for 10 minutes and just look away from the screen. It's definitely,
Yeah.
I think our work with WFP can also make us more appreciative of our craft and the things we love to do. Like Ian, you love to cook, and our job is helping provide our beneficiaries with food. So, it brings a whole new gratefulness when we get to do something like cook. I just signed up for HelloFresh, so I am becoming a chef now. And it definitely makes me super grateful. When the box shows up, I'm like, okay, I get to make my dinner tonight. And the work that we do is it can be tough sometimes. So it's nice to feel that warm and gratefulness of like, I'm doing something good to help people be fed, but I'm also like feeding and taking care of myself and like a creative.
Absolutely. Wow. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that you said that, Tessa, because I think too, with the specific role that I have, I am going through our content library on a daily basis and seeing people's stories, and often I'm subtitling them. I think it does leave me feeling grateful on a day-to-day basis, even when things are hard and there's deadlines. The fact that I'm literally doing what I love to do and watching people who are in a lot of cases struggling, it really puts things in perspective. So you're just like, you just are literally, as you're working, going, I am so grateful. I am so grateful. I'm so grateful. But one thing that I wanted to highlight, because I think it's necessary in this conversation about creativity and the countries that we serve, is what psychologist Maslow created, which is a pyramid. It's called the hierarchy of needs. And at the bottom is these foundational needs like food, and then security. And then it goes into, I should just look at it, but eventually you get it to kind of self-actualization and creativity and transcendence. And that's basically, it's saying that those things that are closer to the top of the pyramid are a privilege that is allowed when people have those needs met. And I think that that's one of the biggest things that WFP does, is they help to provide that food and security. Once people know where their next meal has come from, once they have stable crops, once they're able to fight off climate shocks and stresses, and if they're able to, if they're in conflict, obviously, if coming out of conflict, all of these things that they're struggling with can really inhibit creativity. And it's our privilege to have that structure and that foundation and that security so that we can enjoy creative pursuits. So
it definitely ties in well with just the different stories and the creative ways and innovative ways we see WFP change their work. They kind of adapt to the situation. So as we all know, recently we were still in it, a pandemic that started in 2020, and we're still dealing with a lot of the waves coming after that. And, one of the things that WFP did was in Bangladesh, they started working with refugees on creating masks. So this was something great for them to be able to be self-reliant. It was part of our resilience programs. And it also gave different families and different kinds of people the chance to work. There were quite a few beneficiaries who have disabilities, and they got to be a part of this and learn how to support their family. And I thought that was really awesome. In 2020, they actually made 850,000 masks in the refugee volunteers did. So that's some of the incredible work that we do. And I find that to be a really innovative solution. I mean, at one point you couldn't find a box of masks like anywhere during the pandemic, and same with hand sanitizer. So this is something they could really support their community and also, help others around the world. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. And that reminds me also of the women in Bangladesh, that the basket weaving. There's a livelihood program over there in Cox's Bazar where women and girls are weaving chairs from bamboo and other materials, and those beneficiaries have access to that entrepreneurial skill development and like life skill training, and then they're able to sell their goods. And so they're kind of learning entrepreneurship as well as being able to be creative.
We also have Share the Meal. That's one that we all know about, and that's part of the head of Innovation Accelerator. He created it. He was one of the co-founders.
That Share the Meal app is just so incredible because it's able to just, give access to anyone to be able to donate. And it's connected to what we do every day already, which is eat food. So every time you eat a meal, you tap a button and you share, a portion of that meal, which is a donation to someone else who needs it. And so in a way, you're connecting to people that way. And I think, it's one of the things that came out of Innovation Accelerator, which I think is just so incredible because it sources all these ideas from all over the world. And one of the other projects of Innovation Accelerator that I was really impressed with was one called MPACT. It's EMPACT. It started in 2016, and it basically is a program that helps train refugee youths a lot of tech skills and soft skills and ways for them to just connect to the global economy. Because a lot of refugees, obviously just don't have work. They don't have the ability to connect to their local market. And since then, over 13,000 people have been trained, and they've been able to start working from home, get remote jobs, just access markets and income that they would have never had access to. And one of the stories from that is that there's this lady in Kenya that after graduating from this program was able to secure a cryptocurrency loan to start her fruit business, which most of us, including me, don't even understand what cryptocurrency is. But because of this program, she's able to tap into like one of the newest and most, advanced and progressing technologies in digital currency, and access that, wealth so that she could start her own business. So it's just really cool how, this is something that is creative, because we didn't have an idea to do something like this before. I'm sure many others didn't have this idea, and now it's actually reality for her to do this. So I think it's just one of those really cool projects where if we really think outside the box and think creatively and give other people the tools to be creative, because WFP didn't come up with the idea, she did, based on the training that she received from WFP. So it's really empowering people to be creative and to really be able to thrive in their own lives.
Right onto what Nicole said, of we help provide them with the food and the opportunities to really spread their creativity and their ideas. And it's amazing what we can do when you just have the base of that.
I think that what we're doing in digital tech in general, I mean, it is just outstanding. From that to the flexibility that we've shown, and that WFP has shown in the past few years, including blockchains, and to getting cash into people's hands faster, using whatever technologies we have available, and to using drones to find the best ways to get into emergency situations. And I feel like WFP is definitely, in a non-artistic sense, incredibly creative. They are met with overwhelming odds constantly, and continue to get into the most remote places on Earth.
Yeah, and I think it all centers around this mindset and attitude of let's try new things. Let's figure out how to do things better, because I think in many ways, it's easy to say we've done this forever, because WFP has done this for decades, and be we already know how to do it, and this is what's always worked. But really, in order to scale and be more effective, we have to constantly reevaluate how we've done things, and find and be willing to accept and adopt new technologies, new advancements, to figure out how we can do what we've already done pretty well, and how we can do it even better, because when we do things better, we help more people.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was a great answer, Stephen. That was really
Agreed.
good. Okay. Ian, are there any stories of individuals in the field engaging in artistry or innovation or creativity that you'd like to mention?
Yeah, I actually really am intrigued by the annual children design competition. Probably because it hits home personally for me, and I'll get to that later. But what WFP does is they have kind of a mental boots on the ground type of thing. So they're seeing it from the mind of a child. So we hear from adults all the time, but now they're seeing it from the mind of a child, what's really going on, and as far as where their next meal is coming from, and if they're going to have food that day or the next day or the next week, and so forth, for their family. And so it, for example, they have competitions where they had a carrot chasing a hot dog, just from a child's mind. That's one of the ones that won top prize for the annual child design competition. But it hits home for me because when I was younger, I was part of a summer program at the YMCA in West Philadelphia. It was a program for inner city youth of a certain income level, and we had art competitions every year. And so when I was younger, I wanted to be an architect, and so I would draw from memory the skyline of Philadelphia, on a piece of paper. I wouldn't just draw it; it would be actual details of the buildings. And I won first prize 3 years in a row. I got trophies and everything, and they were like, "Oh, it's going to be on the news and all that stuff." We're talking about from the 80s. This is a long time ago, and so I thought that was very interesting with the child design competition, that WFP actually does that. It's just, oh yeah, I remember when I used to do that back in the 80s. It was the same kind of thing. It was pretty interesting to see.
It's always really important to see through the eyes of children, I think.
Absolutely.
Because they see things 100% as it is. And
Absolutely.
Sometimes I think we forget to check in with them, and we forget to think like them.
Absolutely.
And some of the pieces of art in that competition, I was like, oh my gosh, they're so talented.
I saw them. I was like, wow. I went through the link. I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. Absolutely amazing.
So amazing.
Today, from our employees, we have learned that the creative spirit cannot be separated from our work or our day-to-day. Their artistry enhances the ideas and initiatives they bring to our organization as they elevate the stories of that same commitment to creativity being done in the field. It is paramount that we recognize that creativity is only possible with a strong foundation, just like Nicole said. For those who find themselves in situations similar to those who WFP serves, it is difficult to exercise their artistic passions while they are in survival mode, struggling to access the basic necessities, making the examples we discuss that much more extraordinary. We hope we have inspired you to join us in the fight to end global hunger and invest in initiative programs being carried out right now in the communities WFP serves. Thank you for joining us for Happy National Creativity Day, and we can't wait to see you next time. Yay!
Yay! And I think we got to do karaoke the next time we're all in DC.
Yeah.
No, I'm not singing.
Congratulations on the first place a couple years in a row.
Thank you from 30 years ago. Thank you. I appreciate it.